Hey, it's Harmony. Welcome to today's show. If you have joined us before, you know the drill, but if you are new here, let me take a moment to explain. Because we do this podcast in a live stream format, if you are catching us on the actual live, we have a little countdown timer. It's 3 minutes that gives everyone the chance to see their Instagram and YouTube alerts and join us in time for the live conversation. If you are catching the replay on YouTube, however, feel free to skip ahead to that 3-minute mark, which is when I do the introduction of the topic and we get to meet the 3 artists of the day. I really think this is going to be an interesting conversation. It's going to be a little bit different than the other conversations we have had, because this, to be honest, was kind of an experiment. We are not experts on the topic, but we gave it a go. We came up with our own 30-day social media challenge, and today we're going to tell you what we did, how we did it, whether it was worth it, what the results are, all that good, juicy stuff. I really look forward to seeing your questions and comments either in the live chat if you're joining us live, or just in the regular comment section on YouTube if you catch the replay. Talk to you soon. 1.5 more minutes to go. I am super curious. I'm going to ask you a question while we wait for our conversation to start. So my question for you in the audience is, what is your favorite social media platform that you as an artist are most active on? Where do you post, whether it's still form content or videos, or maybe it's text, maybe you love Twitter. Let us know in the comments what your favorite social media platform is and why. Hey, welcome to episode 13 of Harmony and Friends, casual conversations about art and business. I'm Harmony, I'm a watercolor artist, and I'm also the host of this podcast. Today, we are taking things in a slightly different direction because often I bring on artists that have kind of a really solid track record in an area they've achieved, maybe built up an income stream that we're all really interested in. And they tell us, hey, here's how I do that. Now, this time I thought, let's run more of an experiment and see, rather than bringing in someone who, for example, has 100,000 followers on social media, let's gather a few artists who have 1,000 or 2,000 followers and see whether we can figure out how to gain some traction. How can we grow? Because I think in some ways that makes it more relatable. Sometimes I think, well, what works for someone with 100,000 or 1 million followers doesn't necessarily work for me. So that's why I really want to talk to these artists. We did it for the month of June. We have information about our approach and about the outcome. That's the juicy part. And yeah, with that, I'm going to welcome two artists today. We actually did have 3 artists participating, but only, 4 in total, including me, but only 3 of us are here live. And then Lisa was unable to join us at this time, but she did a pre-recording with me, so I do have her answers that I can play for you as well. So before I jump in with the introductions and the welcomes, I have one additional quick question here for all of you watching. So tell us in the chat, what is your most successful social media content that you've ever created? Do you remember? Does it stand out to you? And how do you define success on social media for yourself? Anyway, so welcome, Amelie and Jillian. Thank you for joining.
Hello.
Hello.
It's such an unusual layout for me. Usually I have this nice, 4, it's all symmetrical, and okay, I'll just have to deal. All right. So, Amelie, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, just 1 or 2 minutes about who you are as as an artist, and about your art business.
Yes, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm Amelie Persson. I'm a Swedish-German artist, illustrator, and writer. I'm based in Germany, Frankfurt right now. And yes, I wear many hats. Most and for all, I draw. I draw analog with ink and watercolors. And that's maybe why you found me online. I don't know. I want to ask that later. So keep that question in the back of your head. Yeah, I create artwork most with ink and watercolors, sometimes comics. I do storytelling. I've illustrated a nonfiction children's book that has been quite successful in Germany. And besides that, I do some teaching. I love to do talks and workshops, and I'm working on museum collaborations and exhibitions. So I wear many hats.
Every single one of those things sounds really fascinating. I'm intrigued.
I really love my job. I have to say that I feel very blessed that I can do that as for a living. Yeah,
it's beautiful. I'm really excited to hear more. Jillian, can you give us a quick intro as well about yourself and your art business?
Yeah, I'm Jillian, and I am an illustrator and a surface pattern designer. I focus mainly on surface pattern design. I work primarily digitally right now, but I have dabbled in a lot of water-based media before. I love water-based things. I don't know why I'm like drawn to the water. So I like using gouache and inks and watercolor, but mostly right now I do a lot of work on Procreate. And that's where I create my seamless patterns, and then I pull it into Adobe Illustrator. And I have been licensed in the stationery industry, and I have a couple other licensing deals that are like in the works right now that will be coming out in this fall.
wow.
So yeah, that's mainly who I am and what I do.
Super exciting. I can't wait to hear. I'm going to play Lisa's intro really quickly as well for our fourth artist.
My name is Lisa Chicken. That is my real surname. I am an illustrator and a pattern designer from New Zealand, and I create joyful pattern designs and illustrations that I license to creative brands who are doing great things in the world, environmentally friendly things, not-for-profits, helping people, those kind of companies, as well as selling my own printed paper products.
All right. It's too bad she can't join us for the conversation. I know she also said she's really going to miss out on having that actual interaction rather than just having her answers pre-recorded, but she was still willing to share it. She is in New Zealand, so it was just, we could not make it work at the time. We tried, but it was like, hey, can you join at 4 a.m.? No? Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Alrighty, so this is not actually the focus of today's conversation. We're talking more about social media, but obviously, if we're trying to run an art business, income streams are important, and the goal is to be profitable. So for the audience, Jillian, why don't you start? Can you give us a quick overview of what income streams you have for your business?
Sure. My income streams are pretty small right now. I'm in the building phase, so I think a lot of us are probably in the building phase as well. Except for you, Amelie, you sound very successful. So congratulations.
No, it's an ongoing process. I promise. Never stops being exciting.
Yeah. For me, I have licensing. That's one of my income streams, and then my other income stream is like print on demand. So I'm on Spoonflower, and that's it. So yeah,
it's a journey. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. And also, it's also one of the big questions. Shall you focus on one thing and do that really thoroughly, or is it is it too much if you try a little of everything? But sometimes even if you try to streamline it all, it's not so easy. It's like a process, and I'm self-employed since 2011, and since 2016 I don't have any jobs or so besides doing this. And I also try to say no to things, and I still also have things on my wish list, like surface pattern design. Yeah, it's also some of the things that I love to do. Yeah. But yeah, to come back to the questions, as I already said in my introduction, so I'm doing book working on books and on printed matter. Then I do workshops and teaching, which has become a little bit bigger in the last couple of years, unintentionally, just happened, a development which is fun, but also takes away a little bit of time from the time you need to make fine art, or a little bit more time consuming free projects. I call that more free projects. And yeah, so this is maybe the third thing that I do. And it can be everything like prints from illustrations on a bigger scale, or experimenting with with topics. Is it material or content different? So yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I'm actually going to answer this question as well. Often I really do just interview the artists, but I think it's relevant to my social media challenge as well, to give you context for where I'm coming from. So I am also, like Jillian, maybe even more so, very much at the beginning of the art business phase. Doesn't mean I haven't been trying for a long time. It's just like finally things are starting to move in the tiniest way. So my YouTube got monetized in April of this year after posting content for like 2 or 3 years. I have finally cracked that open. I'll tell you later on in the live stream what we're talking about there, euro-wise. You will not be impressed. But that has been unlocked. And then I have my online shop opening in a week. And I am slightly terrified that I invested a year and a half and lots of money and nothing will sell. So yay, we'll see how that goes. And that's pretty much it. I did not a lot of, but as many commissions as I could in the end of last year, but I completely stopped that, trying to build up the product for the shop and doing more videos and everything. So right now, YouTube and like Amazon affiliate links is literally the only source of art income, and it is tiny, but hopefully better things ahead. So that's where I'm coming from right now.
Well, congratulations on getting your YouTube monetized. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so hard, I think, sometimes to, like, I immediately was like, oh my goodness, this is nothing. Like, this is going to take forever to be any kind of relevant income. Like, it's so hard to gloss over your achievements, even if it's like, okay, I made my first whatever, how many euros, but at least you did it and you tried so hard for years, and then it comes and you're like, whatever, it's not enough. Like, it's kind of hard, I think, sometimes to, appreciate the journey. Just like, hey, it's still a big step. So thank you.
Also, and also the investment of building up this whole thing, that your own shop, not going on Etsy, but making your own one, and all the work that is behind that. I mean, this has been on my to-do list for a long time. And I have a web designer who I hope is not too mad with me. I like her very much, and I try to forward her other clients, so she's busy. That she doesn't realize how much I'm behind with my schedule of building up this whole thing, because it takes a lot of time and you don't make any money at that time, and you have to keep I mean, your family going, and your income, your studio, and insurances and everything. So maybe this whole thing already speaks also for this Instagram thing, where what is growth, and what is it worth?
Right. Yeah, it's super hard, I think, to define, right? So, and I'm actually, in the end, by the way, I decided to go with Etsy. After this whole thing, I'm like, I cannot figure out all the taxation laws and the packaging laws and like everything registering in 20 different countries. Like, I don't care. Okay, Etsy, take my fees. Just do it for me. I think as a small artist, it kind of seems like a better way for me. But anyway, that is not the topic for today. So let us jump a little more into what we are here to talk about today, which is social media. So feel free to jump in at any time for this question. What made you want to commit to a social media challenge? I know I just wrote you randomly like a day or two before. Hey, you in? So why did you say yes?
I'll start, I guess. if that's all
Go
right.
ahead.
So it's kind of funny that you wrote this, like you asked me to join this, because this was something that I was already trying to do. So it was basically what I set as my social media challenge that we did together. I hope that makes sense. Is what I have been trying to do for the last couple of months. So it was just like a continuation, and I changed it a little bit, but I wanted to commit to it originally because I think that consistency is where growth happens. And I've heard from there are like all these Instagram gurus who are like, oh, do this and use this hashtag and la la la. They have all these like rules and things you can do to grow your following.
Yeah,
and
it's always changing.
I know it's always changing because the algorithm changes every 2 minutes, and it's always, you're just jumping through all these hoops. But I did find this one Instagram person that I think is like a really down to earth person. And okay, his name is Brock Johnson.
Okay.
And his little handle is Brock11 Johnson.
Oh, I think he has a podcast too. I've heard this name before. Okay.
He probably does. He does, like, he has like a membership, and you have to pay for it, but he gives a lot of like good advice just on his Instagram, and I love following it because it's very helpful. But like the main thing that he said is like, just be consistent, whatever that looks like for you, decide your consistency. And then for me, I wanted to try to post every day. And so I think the having like that little, I have like harmony back here in my mind. It's like, are you doing your challenge? We're on a challenge. And so that helps me stay consistent.
I know, it's added pressure when you have to talk about it, right?
Exactly. And I'm like, I'm going to be on a podcast, so I have to do this. It's going to be live forever. Like, people are going to watch me maybe forever, which is crazy. So having that, like a little bit of that pressure just helps me stay consistent, because I will like commit to something and then I can drop off later on. It's just, I mean, I think a lot of creatives are like that. We're really good at starting projects a lot of times, is what I've heard, and then like staying with it. We just like get so bored, right? I do anyway. So that's why I wanted to commit to this challenge, was so that it's just that little extra bit of pressure for me to stay consistent, which is something I struggle with. So
yeah. I had an accident actually with my right hand, my drawing hand, a few months ago, and that was quite a bummer. Something that really, is an absolutely no-go for someone who's drawing for a living. And the only thing I could do in that time was posting, because I was pretty good at it with my left hand. And I thought, okay, if that's the only thing I can do right now, I stick with that. And I have enough content because I had an exhibition, so I had nice pictures, and I thought, yeah, why not? And I'm a little bit too easy to say yes sometimes, where we come back to the importance of saying no. And I often had like inner conversations in that month where I thought, like, my God, this is total bonkers, this whole challenge. Wow, what are we investing time here? Why? And is it worth it? And already after in the first week, I think I started well, like you always tend to do with these kind of challenges, right? And then there were problems. I have 2 kids in kindergarten age, and we have problems with shortage of stuff, and so there was 1 or 2 days where there was no one there, so I had to look after the children, and I share that with my partner, but it's really, really challenging. You can't do home office with a kid drawing also. You can't take them to the studio. It's like almost like Disneyland for them. They love it here. But I get nothing done. So so then I already had the whole frustration, and the reality check was already there.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think something similar happened to Lisa, and she'll share that in her little recordings. And it's happened to me in the past before as well. This month did go a lot better for me, but at the expense of other things. Like, I feel like I focused on my shop opening and on the social media challenge, and that's it. Like I barely created any new artwork. That's kind of what you were saying before, right, Amelie? It's like, how do you do it all, and is it worth it versus should you be creating more artwork as an artist, right? So it's really hard, I think, sometimes to fit everything in. For me, one of the main motivations was that I do feel like social media is an incredible tool of our time as far as like free potential marketing versus having to go with ads or something. If you're not making money for, as an artist, then investing more just seems kind of difficult. And at the same time, I always feel really stuck. Like I feel like my artwork and podcasts are better than the viewerships I get, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think I should be getting millions and millions, but I'm always looking at my art like, it's not that bad. Like, why can't I gain any traction? I don't understand. But then I also really thought about the artists I love online and how much it really is something where like they always have a story at the top or something. Like almost every day, somehow I can interact with them. I get a glimpse into their life and you really feel kind of connected. And so when they're trying to sell something, it's more like natural or exciting and not like, who the heck is this person now? And I just really thought for everything I'm trying to do, whether that's growing my YouTube and the income from that or launching a shop, like I need to have a larger base because right now I don't know how I could kind of make any kind of investment back. So that was one of my main motivations, that I do want to treat it as a business. And because I'm not going to work with, right now, I'm not looking at art licensing or like book deals or anything where I just need an art director. I mean, that's very difficult, but it's a whole different thing. But my work is more directly with the public or other artists. And so that's why I thought it would be really helpful to see whether I can move the needle. So let us jump in here. Lisa has a quick answer as well about her income streams. And then let's look at her stats first, and then we'll look at all of our stats. We're talking about the before stats.
So I do freelance and commission work, art licensing, selling my own products, and a tiny bit of print on demand through Spoonflower. Mm-hmm. So this was May. I reached 1,205 accounts, engaged 122, and had 1,280 followers. That was a pretty typical month for me. I have been trying to focus on posting more content more often on social media. In that month, I had posted 23 stories and 6 posts, which does feel like a lot of work. I do want to streamline that a little bit more, maybe planning the content out a little bit more and batch working it. But that was a pretty typical month before I started the challenge. So we can move on to the next one. This was just the reach for my posts and my stories. 849 non-followers I reached, and 356 of those were my followers. So quite a large proportion from hashtags and just getting found through Instagram compared to people who are actually following me. And in the month of May, I gained 21 new followers with 29 follows and 8 unfollows, which was up just a little bit on the month before. So that was good. It's always good to be improving.
All righty. So let's jump into our stats here. Amelie, these are your before stats. Let me know if you're looking for a specific page.
No, I think May was already quite good. I'm very inconsistent on Instagram, I have to say. But I don't want to jump now to my conclusion, but I think May was already quite good, and I was quite active there. But I'm just surprised to see Lisa's that she has so much interaction with non-followers, and my interaction is almost only with followers. So yeah,
that's really interesting. Yeah, I thought we were all going to have kind of like similar results, and then I was looking at everyone's screenshots. I'm like, wait, actually, this is kind of a different ballgame on all of our accounts. So it's super interesting. I'm going to bring up Jillian's before. And Jillian, you had me a little shook. I was like, "Girl, what? This is the after I was hoping for. It was your before starting point. So you need to give us all your secrets."
You can have them all. I'll give them all to you.
Wow.
I mean, look at this. You grew in 1 month 24% of your followers. Like, wow. That's
Yeah.
I mean, I'm completely in shock. I don't know what you're doing over there, but it's working.
So this is not all me. Let me tell you what part of this was that I did like an internet competition for a company called Golden Coil. And my Golden Coil planner came out in May. And so Golden Coil has like, I don't know, 100,000 billion followers. And so they were sharing me all the time because my design was coming out that month. So it wasn't me. Cool. It was literally, I was like riding the wave of Golden Coil in May. So yeah, don't think I did something magical. It was all like, all these people just came to me from Golden Coil. So
that's amazing, and also so sad because I was hoping you were going to give me actionable tips, but other than get a guru right license with Golden Coil. I mean, yeah, that seems like a good tip, but that doesn't really seem like something I'm going to get done here in the next few weeks.
Yeah, but maybe that's a takeaway, maybe too, that you have to engage with big accounts, or you have to somehow need others to get traction, because it's so hard to be seen in this universe which is full of stars, to shine a little bit more.
That actually it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show mine here. So for me, I'm also like, I've been really inconsistent, and my thing was always I wanted it to be really kind of like aesthetic, and I would only want to post like finished pieces, and working a job, having a kid, like doing all this, I just wouldn't really be able to produce as much art as social media wants me to be able to grow. My reach wasn't great. Like you would see some months, like this is similar. Like if I don't have artist interviews, it's like meh. Like, so it's definitely helpful for my account when I do these podcasts, but it also, I think, is kind of hurting it and confusing it. And I'll explain that later. You can remind me if I forget. Sorry. But yeah, this is kind of like a typical month for me, growing just by maybe 1%. While I cough away on mute, would you mind answering this question?
Yeah. Jillian, you want to start?
Okay, sure. So my goals when I started this 30-day challenge were, I wanted to just increase my following. I had like quite a few very specific goals that I did not accomplish, which is fine. Like, it's fine. It's just social media. I'm not trying to save the world here. So it's okay. We have grace, right? I wanted to get better at reels. I hate making reels. It's like my very worst thing. It just takes me 1,000 years to make them, and they're never very good. And I'm not very trendy. I'm not cool. So I am not good at making like cool videos that people want to watch. But it was like my goal to get more comfortable making reels and just make reels. And I also wanted to grow my email list. That didn't happen. I don't think I got any new subscribers, but it's fine. I'm not really focusing on that as much as I thought I would be this month anyway. But yeah, I wanted to like grow my following. And so I think that was probably the goal that I was like always at the forefront of my mind, was you be consistent and grow your social media following. So yeah.
So my goals, I think in the beginning of the month, before I started the month, I thought it would be great to sell maybe a few art prints, and then just, I don't know, 3 days in, no, when the first obstacles came my way, I thought, okay, let's try to post but let's try to not make this too time consuming, because time is the most valuable thing that I have, and I have a lot of work that pays me and Instagram does not. And the people I know who are following me and who are active, they already said if they wanted something, they already would have notified me if they wanted a print. So there were no this would not happen. But I thought, okay, then let's I have enough as we are creators, and we have a lot of material, and we are often not aware of it. So I made a plan for the first time, or not a really plan, but I made just a little list and of different things that I could show, like my workplace. I mean, people love to see workplaces. They love to see messy studios like here, and the reality. And maybe sometimes even the comic relief that is behind all the hard work. So I tried to do that at least, and to do that quick, to not make like a big deal out of it, just to do what is easy, what is already there, and just put it out there and see what happens. And then and then you see, okay, pictures with faces on always work really great. And some things that you really hang on to, no one cares, and the algorithm hides them all away. And so it's interesting. I have stopped using hashtags, so I would really be interested is this still a thing, or when I use hashtags, I have the feeling the posts they disappear. I don't know. I want to know your takeaway from that. But maybe first Harmony tells us her goals, but maybe let's keep that hashtag question in mind.
I'll respond to
go
that
ahead.
later. So,
yeah.
no,
do it now. We'll forget.
Okay. So when we were looking at your stats, and all of your views are from your followers, I use a million hashtags. I use almost as many as I possibly can, and most of my views are from non-followers. And I wonder if Lisa does the same thing, because you had mentioned that you noticed that a lot of her engagement, or whatever, I'm trying to say, from the one that shows all of the stats were from non-followers. So I think that might be why, because I think hashtags are still like relevant hashtags, and there's like an art to using hashtags. You want to find hashtags that are like in between like 10,000 views, between 10 and like 200,000, and you don't want to go higher because they'll be hidden instantly. And you don't want to go lower, really, because there might not be anyone looking at those hashtags. Yeah. So like there's kind of a sweet spot, and you kind of mess around with it a little bit. But I use tons of hashtags, and I get a lot of accounts engaging who are not my followers. So I wonder if maybe that would be something you could play around.
Look into it, yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
For me, hashtags seem to matter some places. Like static posts, I use them. Reels, I don't, because reels seem to go out comparatively that much more anyway. And stories, there's like no point, only your followers see them, if even. So I use hashtags on feed posts only. That's the only place that I really use them. Yeah. I'm going to go into my goals a little bit. I had kind of like the long-term goals, and it wasn't that I expected to make a huge dent in them in 1 month. But I also think that it's almost like a compounding interest kind of thing that you're getting on social media. I mean, Instagram, TikTok, all that is a little more short-lived. Like I think YouTube, for example, or Pinterest have much, much longer tails, where you might not see results right away, but eventually, hopefully you will. But that was my idea, is just to throw my hat in, like get a lottery ticket every day, basically, and just see whether like I can get some traction with anything whatsoever. I wanted to eventually grow my email list, have a good shop launch, significantly grow my YouTube channel, like all these things that will bring me income, just by raising my profile and getting more views onto like my art and who I am. Spoiler alert, that didn't really happen, but that was why I wanted to give this a go. And I'm still kind of hopeful that it's something where it's like nothing difficult happens in a month. Like a month is not enough. You can't just show up for 30 days. yeah, maybe you'll go viral, but most likely not. And so I would be super interested, like more long term, if I'm able to keep this up. And the if, that's the big question, whether I'll get better results then. But
it's maybe
yeah,
maybe it's like with this kind of promise that you get for a diet or something. You don't get a dream body in 3 days or in a week. Yeah,
yes.
but you have to work on it. And that's maybe also with these things. You have to be consistent. You have to have a really good quality to keep your followers and to engage with new ones. And
yeah, well, we'll see. We'll look at our after results as well, and maybe we'll have to do like a reunion show in a few months and see whether
maybe
where we are at that point. But I'm curious now, before we look at the actual statistics, what did you plan on doing it? Like, yeah, daily posting or whatever. And did you end up doing that? Why or why not?
I'll start. I think I keep answering these questions like in the wrong time, so I'm really sorry about that. But so I planned to share like daily stories. I plan to do a feed post a day and then like 2 to 3 reels a week. And I did most of those things. I didn't do 2 to 3 reels a week. I think I only came away with like 4 reels for the whole month. But honestly, I'm really proud of that because I hate making them. So I made myself make 4. That's 1 a week. And that is better than anything that I could have done. So I'm proud of that. I'm okay with that. And I think I got almost a feed post a day. We ended up taking a vacation toward the end of this month. And I kind of like unplugged for a little bit, which was really healthy and good. So I didn't really share while we were on vacation. And then stories are weird for me. I don't really watch people's stories, and I should, but I don't know. I never think of it. I never think of watching people's stories, but I know that people love stories. Like everyone else in the world, I guess, besides me, loves stories. So I know that like sharing stories is really helpful to your followers because people want to see behind the curtain. Like we mentioned before, like people like seeing your studio space. They like seeing like your work area, your life. They want to know who you are, not just like see your artwork, but they want to connect with you. So that was something I got really like, I thought about all the time, like, oh, I need to share stories. So I think I did a pretty good job with making sure that I was like sharing stories. So that was a lot of rambling. I apologize.
oh.
I'm done. So go ahead.
It's really it's interesting and to hear you. And I think this is also this whole video now. If people are interested in you, they want to watch that, and they just don't want to just see your patterns, but they want to know who is this person who loves water. And so yeah, it's always like a fine line where you balance what you want to share, what you don't want to share. And yeah, and I what was my plan? I'm just reading the question. My plan was, I think you said that we should post daily. That was the plan, that we should all do it. And I tried that, and after a few days it didn't work. I think I posted a lot compared to what I post regularly. I can scroll on my Instagram and just 3 years back suddenly. I mean, I've been on there for a long time. But yeah, so I was posting a little bit, just like real, like proper posts. And then I did stories every now and then because, I don't know, I think it's interesting to watch it. I don't watch TV. I mean, maybe I rather look too much into my phone, but I try not to do it. So I don't know. It's a lot of some interesting stuff, but of course it's also a waste of time. And yeah, I'm very ambivalent about it. But I think overall it's a really good tool. And just scrolling, and also sometimes like going from one thing to the other, like taking a walk through Instagram and following different links and I don't know, different profiles and stuff, leads you sometimes to really interesting stuff and opportunities. So there's actually a lot that I also see and find for myself. So it's always worth it. I would never throw it away but I also know after this month that it's something that I don't want to do and I don't want to commit to, and I don't see that growth coming. I think it's like this whole momentum of that thing is gone. I don't know. This is already like sounding like a conclusion, but I think I try to really use it as a tool to connect and what can I get out of it. I don't think it's like monetizing is easy. I don't think so. And but I'm also not a pro, but just for me, what works for me and what's in it for me. So that's, at least at the moment, I don't think I think there's kind of a, you say, glass ceiling or something, like there's like, you can't go behind it anymore. Like I think there was a time when accounts could grow and they would just, I don't know, I have some Illustrator friends that have a huge following, but also that doesn't make a huge difference for them.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean,
because they're often even more frustrated.
Right? Like, does that actually translate into any kind of livable income? Yeah, that's a good question. For me, like, I wanted to take a different approach based on each platform. So I actually was doing a social media challenge in a few different places. And so I went with what do I think is a stretch for me, but potentially sustainable? Like, I don't want to burn out over this at all. So for me, it was super easy on Instagram. Like, my goal was daily stories, because to me, there's a million things I could share on stories. It doesn't have to be polished. Like, it's easily done. It's that instant connection. And it's really helping. I think, actually, I did see a lot more engagement from the people that have followed me. So yeah, it's not a tool for growth or outreach whatsoever, but I think it deepens that connection. And just for me actually being there, because I feel like otherwise I'll just go months and months and there's like nothing. And then there's one post and nothing. And so I feel like that was really positive. I did want to do more reels, and I focused on like learning like cute little transitions. And like, I actually really like making reels. I thought it was super fun. And I made 10 that month. My huge challenge, honestly, with that, and I'm kind of jumping ahead to results, but in Germany, you cannot use, like, I don't know, since the end of 2022, the terms and conditions of Instagram and Meta changed. So if you have any kind of business link to your accounts, like me, if I'm trying to make money with a shop, etc., I cannot use any music from the Instagram library. Like, I can't do trending sounds and things. And honestly, it's super frustrating because, one, I had to go through and like delete everything. And so it just looks like I have not made any art, or it's, it's like super frustrating. If 100 people had saved it, maybe that could have been, a commissions client, like something, and it's just like all gone. So I was really kind of bad at that, but it's a free tool, so I can't be really that bad. But it was still just so much effort involved, and it's just all gone. And the frustrating thing is,
do you still have them?
I archive because them, and it's like you can download them with different apps and like re-upload with different music. But you know how things are like perfectly timed.
I know.
Now you gotta find that song that hits at the exact. It's like I'll eventually do it. So yeah, sorry, you're probably gonna see old reels pop up again. But that was frustrating. But I really had fun doing the new ones. But the problem was that, like, instead of getting maybe 14,000 views, I'd get, like, the max I got was slightly over 1,000 with my own like audio that I upload based off of like licensed audio that I buy with Epidemic Sound. So that's super frustrating because you're putting in like the same effort, you're getting better at the skills, but it's never going to get pushed out if you don't, in my experience, if you don't use the trending sounds. So if you are in a country where you can use them, that's my big tip for you. Like, that's, for me, is honestly make or break. Like, do your reels with trending music, you're golden. But I did that. And then on the, I actually went back to TikTok, which I had not used. Like, I used it maybe for a month or two a year ago, and then I stopped. And then this time I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to do something on TikTok every single day. And I almost did. I'll tell you about the results after that. But it was kind of effortless because the content was really different. Like, they have this thing called get ready with me. Like you literally sit down like this without your makeup and you're smearing it on and like giving a business tip. Like it's so easy. Literally in the morning when I'm getting ready, I put my phone there. So from an effort perspective, it's like the easiest thing. So it's like, I don't even care if there's results or not, you know, like it wasn't like a reel where for an hour and a half, I'm trying to time things perfectly and make it pretty. It's like, slap it on. Okay, bye. Have your morning coffee. You're done. And then YouTube, I was a lot more intentional. I think I only posted 4 or 5 shorts because I'm much like, I need that to link back to something on the channel. So if there's no tutorial or something there, there's like no point because I'm just going to confuse people. So anyway, that was a really long intro there about my goals. And let us jump in with Lisa here. She's going to give us her reasons and she's going to jump right into her results as well. And then we'll do ours.
I really love Instagram for connecting with the art community and with other artists. And it seemed like it was a great way to start thinking more strategically about my social media, which was something I had been intending to do anyway, but also to just meet other artists and be involved in something as part of a community is really cool.
That's really interesting. Did you have any business related goals as well, or it was more about engagement, connection to other artists?
I did have business related goals too. I did want to grow my followers and I do want to start making sales through my social media shop. So I've got an Instagram shop set up at the moment.
Perfect.
So the goals, those were the goals.
Okay.
That I
Perfect. I mixed 2 questions up there for you.
Cool. Do you want me to answer this one separately?
No, I think it's fine. I think we've captured it, but I'm going to take you right to the next question, which is, how did you plan to go about this? What did you plan to do to reach your goal? And juicy part, did you end up doing it? Why or why not?
So I plan to do 5 stories a week and 2 to 3 posts, with 1 or 2 of those being a static post or a carousel and 1 of those being a reel. I didn't do it completely for the month. The first 2 weeks were fairly consistent with what I'd planned, and then life just kind of got in the way for the last 2 weeks, and I didn't post anything, to be honest, for the last 2 weeks. I think had I started the month and actually been a little bit more prepared and mapped out my content in advance and actually batch worked and done everything, it would have been a lot less pressure and a lot less stressful, and I would have actually finished the challenge. In terms of reaching my goals, I did gain new followers despite not posting as much. I didn't make any sales through my social media challenge, but then again, I didn't follow through with my initial plan as I had intended to.
Alrighty, so I'm going to bring up our after results here as well. Amelie, we will start with yours. Walk us through what happened.
What happened? Do you have like a before and after? I don't even know by heart.
Well, just give us a kind of, what are the results? Are they better than the month before? You know, did it make a difference, do you think?
So this is, I reached a little bit more accounts, okay, and I engaged with more, but what kind of difference did it make? Didn't make any difference. I don't know. I have 20 more followers or something. It's nothing. I don't know. It's with followers. It's also, I don't care anymore. But back when I counted, or I wanted to reach, I don't know, I wanted to reach 2,000 followers. It took ages, and I didn't never posted like so strategic, but I posted, and I don't know. It's always 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. Kind of the numbers, if you switch on your phone the next morning, there's always something changed again. You say, what did I do wrong? Or if you post, they disappear suddenly, and you shouldn't bother about it. Or I tell that to myself, I don't bother. I think it's, you have these kind of thing that is called micro influence or something. That you don't need, like, I don't know. yeah, I also ask myself, what are my goals here? I'm already engaging with people. I have this platform where it's also like a website at the time where my website is like under construction. You can find my work. You can find my work for the last few years and see that I'm a consistent artist, and maybe that's already the goal that I've reached. I won't be, I don't know what kind of breakthrough. I don't fantasize about anything here, I think. And I'm not willing to commit more than I do, even commit less than I do, I think. Because this whole work-life balance thing is so important, and I care more about doing more work, more art, and people will find me through other channels, and also this whole aspect that you mentioned about having to delete your reels, copyright issues. I don't know. I mean, Instagram is allowed to do everything with your stuff, but you're not allowed to use what they provided you with, and then they provide you with more and more options. And I don't know. I think it's also important to be a little bit suspicious to these kind of platforms where you invest so much time, because they can just disappear like other things have disappeared. I don't know, MySpace, and other
or you could get suspended or something, like, and then your account's gone.
I think it's more, I see that more as a bridge. People can find you. You can be found, and you're approachable, and then you should offer more somewhere else, maybe. And that's also my plan, to have a newsletter, and to have a good website where people come back and look for more, or maybe have something like that. But
I agree. For me, it's kind of, I see it a little more positive though. For me, it's kind of top of funnel. Like, it's, if everyone stays there, then that does me no good. But if people become interested enough and build a relationship with me and care enough to eventually like sign up for my newsletter or something, then you have control of that, and that can really be like a many-year relationship. Like, there's always this this idea of like, you need 100 true fans or something to like make a good living as an artist. Again, if you're not going with publishing and things like that, but if you have a shop, or you're trying to sell originals or whatever, that if you can get 100 people that like every time you create something, they're there for it, that's kind of all you need. So but getting 100 people that committed is actually quite difficult. So that's why it's like, having the big reach is good, but it's not enough. You're right. Like, that alone is worth nothing, really.
If you're looking at the bigger picture, what you have to make the world go round, or your life, then this is a very expensive hobby. That will maybe never pay off. But of course,
hurts, but you're right.
No, I don't want to be offensive or something.
No, you're right.
Just looking at my own statistics, we have these phones that offer you so much. Like, I have also these kind of reminders that tell me that I've spent too much time already. I don't know, after 30 minutes, and I'm always ignoring it every day almost. But not on the weekends though. It's also family time, even though I'm sitting here now. But it's a positive platform. I'm connecting there with other artists, and I'm seeing inspiring things, and I'm sharing things, and I'm using it also as my, I don't know, if I have I had like an event and I was announcing it there, and I know that there are enough, that the true fans are there and they're coming. So I don't have to call them or WhatsApp them or anything. So I think it's a positive platform, and it's a platform for creators of pictures. It's still, I think, the best one. So my conclusion isn't negative, but it's also like a warning to myself, or I'm maybe more aware what I want to do with my time.
And it's realistic. I think that's a good outcome because you tested for yourself. Is what you're getting back worth that additional input, right? Because you're going to have to take it from somewhere else. Time with your family, time to make art, whatever, right? So are you getting that back in some form, or can you see how that's going to pay off? And if not, then each of our art businesses are different too. I think for some people, a reach is more important. But the things that you're doing, that you're describing with the museums and the book deals and everything, like you don't need that as much. So
but
it makes sense for you to take a step back.
But also I have to also jump in here to say that also this is a platform where you get immediate feedback. And that's also very valuable because there are publishing houses following me and liking things. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing here making posts? They're liking my things. I should make my what is it called? My book pitch. I should send it them their way. Yeah. But I think it's not this or that, but it's a lot. It's a lot. And it's what you make out of it. So I will not stop being there or anything, and I will not stop posting, but I won't post every day or but I think it's very interesting, and it's very interesting to think about it and do things aware. But now I'm rambling here now, taking that away.
All good. I think you had incredible insights. I'm going to bring up Jillian's stats just because I know we were trying to get done within an hour or a little more, and we have a few more questions. So I'm going to bring up your stats here, Jillian. All righty. Tell us a little about it.
These are my stats.
Ta-da!
There it is. So I love hearing what you're saying, Amelie, and I think that it's so important. Like, it's so different for every person. And so, like, for me, I think that I want to continue to post this much and even maybe more, which is maybe a little bit insane because I know like screen time is such an important thing that we always talk about, right? Like, spending too much time on social media is not good for our brains, and spending too much time like on a phone is not good for our brains. But I think where I am in my business, like for me, it makes a lot of sense to keep posting more. Like, you can kind of see, I think the slide before this one, it shows, this one. So you can see in the middle of June, it's like going really strong. And then toward the end of June, that's when I was on vacation and I wasn't posting really. And you can see that major dip there. It's like, it's pretty intense. And I think I notice growth in my Instagram when I share daily. And I notice that's not the only important thing. Like, so for me, I think it's important to have a strategy that works for your business. So my strategy is like, I need to get as many eyeballs on my work as I possibly can because I'm trying to get licensing deals, right? Which happened in the middle of the month here. Someone contacted me on Instagram and was like, I love this pattern. Can I license it?
Amazing.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it was like incredible. I was like, what? Really? Okay. Yeah. Of
Amazing.
course. And that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't been consistently posting because the algorithm favors consistency and it favors like if you're spending time in the app, like if you give to the app will give back a lot of times, which is really annoying because they want you to spend time in there. That's how they make their money. And I'm watching them. I know that that's how it works, but also it helped me make some money. So
of course
it was helpful for me.
Yeah.
But what else was I going to say about that? I don't remember.
So you know which post performed that great.
So I know. Sorry.
So you know which post performed that great.
Yep.
Also immediate feedback.
Yeah, immediate feedback and having someone like I got some insight into maybe the kind of like patterns or styles that people are looking for. Which that was very helpful because sometimes, if you're an artist and especially like a surface pattern designer, you want to create patterns that people are looking for, but maybe you don't know what, you can see the trends coming out now, but in fabric or whatever in manufacturing, it takes months and months to actually have a product be created. So you have to be like forward thinking. And how do you know what the trends are going to be in 6 months from now or in a year from now? Like it's really hard to know what to create. So from that, I got some feedback from, and I'll share the feedback. I'm not going to attach any names or anything, but like boys stuff is really popular, you know, like not a lot of people do a lot of boy centered prints, and I don't either. I love making girly things like mermaids and like flowers, and the girlier the better for me, but people are looking for boy stuff. So I got feedback from that, and that is very helpful. I'm like, oh, how can I like create, you know, boy stuff, which might be something that people are looking for, and then you can get more followers, whatever, you know what I'm saying. So for me, yeah, I think that like seeing my stats, it was totally worth it doing this, and I want to continue moving forward because I think I'm seeing a lot of like upward momentum, which as I need to like support my family. So that is like, you know, I don't have a whole lot of other ways of like, I don't know, marketing my artwork. So Instagram is kind of like, I've put like a lot of eggs in this basket, which is maybe a little scary, but it's okay. This is where we start. We jump off, we get people to an email list, right? That's the goal. So
Perfect.
yeah, but I do think that for me, it was totally worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you really manifested something in that month, and that's amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's not like a long-term outcome, but that was like an immediate turnaround. And not just that, but it's like your whole account is really growing significantly looking at these numbers. I mean, month by month, this is like, yeah, if I were you, I'd be all over this because it's working, right? So there's immediate monetary outcome, you know, you're building, you're getting feedback that's helpful for your portfolio, and like it's really exciting. So that's so cool to see.
And you still had some family time. Just saying, you still had a vacation that month. You didn't like burn out. You invested lots of time, but you also had some time for yourself. I think that's a great combination.
Yeah.
Righty. I'm going to jump in with mine quickly. So I just wanted to share like one thing that I noticed is like, it's kind of hard for me is for like all the reels and things, like my feed looks so just bad now. It really bothers me. And I feel like when people come to my page, they're actually less likely to subscribe, like just based on that. It's just not as pretty anymore. I also like removed all my story highlights, and all of that is to say that one of the things I did not do that I was hoping to do was to really narrow in on what am I even trying to achieve here? Who am I talking to? What are, you know, you have these fancy words like content pillars and stuff, but the whole point is just when you go to my page, who am I? What can you expect? Who am I even trying to talk to? And I feel like that is completely split, and it has been for a few months, and it's hurting me. And I don't know what to do about it other than like split everything up. And I don't really want to do that either because I'm such a small account. So I feel like I have the podcast, which is very much artist to artist, art business. Then I have myself as an artist and trying to actually sell my artwork. And yes, some other artists might like my artwork, but that's not primarily why they're following me. And so I have like all these different things. And I also have like watercolor tutorials. Like, and I just feel like it's kind of like a hot mess. And when I post, I do notice that I'll have these huge dips where people drop off. So it's like, it's something they didn't expect, or like, I don't know what it is. If it's just my personality, that's something I can't change. But if it is this confusion of like, what is this person even about, that might be it. So I didn't fix that because I don't know how, or like, I don't want to take that step, you know, to split things up. So in general, you could say it went well, but I'm not sure if it went well enough. Like I grew, I reached more accounts, but in general, it was like, here, I think it's on the next slide. Somewhere, where are you? Here, okay. Like overall grew 42 people, but I had 19 unfollows and 61 follows. Like that is quite extreme, I think. And you can also say, and I don't know if it's true, because I have two minds about this. One side is saying, well, I remember I had Marloes on for the first episode of this, Marloes de Vries, and she was saying like, if you unsubscribe from my newsletter, like, thank you. because then you don't want to be here anyway, right? I'm not for you. Like, you might as well take off, because you're not going to open my newsletters anyway, so it's fine. And sometimes I think that about my Instagram, and I think, well, if you don't like what you see, then please do leave. Like, there's absolutely no point, and I don't want nasty comments or anything, so just feel free to leave. It's great. Find your people. But then on the flip side, I also think that so often people say, like, a new friend or a new follower, like, is worth so much less than someone that has been around for a long time. So it kind of depends on, who are these people who are leaving? Are these people that have followed me for years and they don't like that now I'm doing all these reels, or, they don't like this new approach? And that is actually an issue, because otherwise maybe they would commission work from me, or they would buy my product and now they're out. Or is it someone who clicked one day, the second day gets something they don't understand and unfollow? So that's kind of the information that you don't get, which I think makes it tricky, because I think this is super volatile. What I noticed in general is that I posted 2 to 3 times as much. Like, I did before, I did 2 posts. Then in June, I did 6 posts. Before, I did 4 reels. Then I did 10 reels, and I doubled my stories as well. And the outcome and the growth was almost that same doubling. So it really seems like the more effort I put in, it's growing, but it's not growing exponentially. So I don't know if it's worth it, because I can't put in 10, 20, 30 times the effort to grow significantly, where it might actually make a difference to my business. So I'm pretty split about whether this was worth it for me personally. I really don't know. Like, I'm just as confused as I was beforehand. So I know that's not super helpful info, but that's my real experience.
I think it might be like, if you look at a graph that shows like exponential growth, you might be right at the very beginning before it does this. You know what I mean?
You might, or you might just be wasting, weeks of your life. Like, that's the thing, you never know. That's
Yeah.
like, that's what keeps me hanging on, right? Because Mom was like, this is the one. I know this reel is so good. Like, it's gonna, and it's like, no, this next one, because with social media, it's possible. And it's almost like, is that a curse? Because it maybe makes you do things that are not rational. Like, maybe it's not logical to put this much effort in, or maybe, like with you, Jillian, it's totally worth it, and it's like the best thing you could do for your business, and you just don't know. It's so hard.
It's so hard.
It really is, yeah. And you will never know. I mean, it's also, you mentioned the lottery earlier. It's like, if you buy a lottery, really something every day, yeah, of course. But then you also,
The odds
there's
right?
always
I don't buy the lottery in
to
real life.
become a millionaire, but also,
right,
if you save all that money, you may be also a millionaire.
Exactly. No, and that's the thing. That's why I was saying, like, I don't play the lottery in real life, so why am I playing the social media lottery, right? Like,
Yeah.
kind of maybe asinine, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but regarding the followers, I wouldn't give that too much weight, because I think, I don't know about you, but if you see sometimes who follows you, these, I don't know, names are like bots or something also sometimes. And I think if they come, or if I suddenly have 5 more followers at a bunch of followers, then I also know they will disappear again. They're not there to stay. So
yeah, it's true.
Don't question yourself too much. It's more like, have fun doing what you do. I don't know. Jillian is also a really good example. I mean, you focus on one thing and just stick with it, and being consistent in what you are, what you can do, what you want to do. Don't know, that advice was maybe quite good.
I think it's really helpful, and sometimes I also think that I'm overcomplicating it, because all these different things I do is what I do as an artist. So, like, yeah, maybe not everything appeals to everyone, but fabricating it into like this little slice is also so much work and so difficult that, like, I mean, I follow lots of artists or other people where I don't love every single thing they post, and it's okay. So it's just, it's hard to know. But the thing is, it's hard because you do not know the results. oh, if I take option B, it'll turn out this way. If I take option, A, like you don't know. So you just kind of got to make decisions and try. If it's okay, I'm going to, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just one comment about that. I don't know what my impression is from accounts that post a lot and they repost the same stuff over and over again. I'm always bored by my own words repeating themselves. But I think if you can do that, and every now and then you can do a post, introduce yourself and tell your audience who you are. Hello, it's me, and I wear those and those so many hats, and I do this and this and this. And it's very interesting always to give like a few fun facts and some real facts, and just for those people who are there and who are getting the algorithm, who are seeing your post, to see who are you, what are you doing, and why are you here. And because I mean, I also sometimes subscribe. There was something inspiring, and then I don't know the person at all. And I think it's maybe a good opportunity or a reminder to show yourself sometimes on the grid and just explain that, not only in the bio, because people, they are quick, they don't have time, they are doom scrolling the days and nights away. So
That's true.
like we all do.
All right. If it's okay, I'm going to share Lisa's results now, and then we have one final question for everyone because I want to be respectful of your time. So let's get her results up.
For June, I gained 18 followers, which was interesting because I posted roughly half as much as I had the month before. And so the month before I'd gained 21 followers. It goes to show that just having content out there, even if it's historic content, is still kind of being shared by Instagram and you're still reaching people. I did also find, though, that the more you post, the more engagement you get for the month. I actually don't feel too bad about those results, despite the fact that I didn't post half as much content as I wanted to. It was really interesting to see that I still had a similar number of followers. So in terms of my goal of gaining more followers, it was fairly consistent for that. I think if I put in more effort, I will get better results. So it was worth doing what I had done. But again, I think if I go back and I'm a little bit more strategic about it and plan the content out in advance, it will work a lot better. The hardest thing was definitely being consistent and just juggling day-to-day life. It was a bit of a crazy month in my personal life with social media and keeping on board with the challenge. The best thing about it was, again, definitely connecting with other artists, and that it did get me thinking a little bit more strategically about my social media marketing, how much time I'm spending on it, and whether that time is a worthwhile investment and where I'm spending it.
Lisa, going forward, what do you think, how are you going to approach social media? Is this going to change what you do? Are you going to try again with a 30-day challenge? Where are you going to take it from here?
I think I'd like to do a lot more learning and research around my marketing strategy, who my target audience is, what my content pillars are, who I'm trying to reach and how I'm going to reach them, and exactly what I'm getting out of the time that I'm putting into my social media. It is something I do because I enjoy it too, and I just really love connecting with people. And it's a really great feeling for people to give you great feedback on your art and to connect personally with the people you're selling to. I think changing going forward, again, I just want to be more specific about what it is I'm doing on social media and why I'm doing it, even if that is just using it as a channel to get feedback on my art and connect with other people, but just to really kind of nail that down and be more specific about the time I'm spending on it, how much time I'm investing, why I'm investing it, and what I'm getting out of it. So it really did help me to focus on what my social media goals are and how I'm going to achieve those.
Sorry, Sorry.
You were
Thank you. I
muted.
appreciate that. Okay, so 2 quick things before we wrap up. One, if you are watching and you have not shared a question, this is your final chance to throw it out there. We have just a few minutes to answer those. And while we're waiting for potential audience questions, I'm going to give both of you the chance. Is there anything, any advice you wanted to give, anything that we haven't covered that you really wanted to mention before we end the live stream for today?
Yes. I'll go, Amelie, if that's okay. Sorry, I'm always one of those people that waits for everyone when there's just silence. So I'm like, I'm just going to get in there, jump in there and do it. So I think it's really important, not just being like somebody who posts a lot, right? I think what's really important with Instagram and probably with other social media accounts, but I like focus on Instagram. That's like my platform that I have decided to build as my business platform. I think what's really important is being the type of follower to other artists and people that you would want to have. So engaging with other people, not just posting and just like throwing your work out there and hoping that you get likes and comments, but actually like liking and commenting on other people's work. Like treating Instagram like it's more of a community, like you're trying to, build a community, not just like throw your artwork in people's faces, like, please love me, because that's kind of, it doesn't work, right? Like you could do that all day, but if you never like give back what you want to receive, like you're going to notice, like it's kind of like karma, maybe, you get what you receive kind of a thing. I noticed for me, when I started to really grow on Instagram, it was when I started to implement this strategy, like finding people that I love their artwork and really like letting them know. And like, I like and comment on people's stuff all the time, or people who follow me. I try to like, really engage with people who follow me. I think that's really important. And I've actually like, this is going to sound maybe a little sad, but I've made like really good friends on Instagram, like people that I just talk to, and we just talk now and we share like about our lives that I've never met in real life. Like they're my internet friends, my husband laughs at me so much for that, but it's true. I mean, you could still make a connection with someone on the internet. And yeah, I've made like a lot of friends that way by just really encouraging other people. And it's so much fun, like, you ever walk down the street and someone just tells you that you look fantastic that day and like how good you feel? That's kind of how it is. So like if you can go to someone else's artwork who feels maybe like you do, and it's like, oh, I'm just throwing my stuff out here. I never get any like comments or likes. I have no idea if I'm just screaming into the void. But it like that one comment and you telling someone else like, oh, this is really beautiful. You could make their whole day and like change the trajectory of their life, right? They're like, oh, actually I can be an artist. You know what I mean? So I think like treating your followers like that, I think is really, really important. And like, I think that's probably the most important thing that I found is not even posting consistently, but like engaging with other people's work consistently, because it's like when you talk to someone, like people think you are interesting if you're a good listener, right? Like they think that, and I want to preface this, I don't think we should just say nice things to people for what we'll get back from it. Like, don't just go out there and like be fake and just say things just for what you're going to get back from it. But like being really genuine, but actually like trying to connect with people and be like kind and encouraging to other people has helped my Instagram grow more. So I hope that made sense. But yeah, I think that's probably the most important thing that I've done is engaging with other people, not even sharing my own artwork.
I actually really agree with that. That was one of the most fun parts. So numbers aside, because maybe that wasn't worth it. But like I said, I had fun making reels, but I also had fun just getting that much more engagement. I mean, people commenting on my work, like otherwise it's just like dead. You post something, it goes into a void. But then the same, like I think maybe the algorithm's smart, right? So if they're commenting on your stuff, like their pages, or posts pop up for you. So it becomes this much more interactive thing. And with you two, it happened. And in general, when I interview artists, like I really enjoy as soon as we've built the connection of like, yes, this is the date, almost magically, like they start showing up much more on my Instagram. And so it's almost like I had interactions with both of you, even though I haven't met you, prior to us doing this live because of that. So I really agree that you can form those connections. And I'm not saying we're going to be best friends for life. We can be, but we're not at this point. But like I agree. Like it's so there's a human on the other end of
The
that
human.
comment or post. Yeah.
I think the human connection is a key thing in this whole thing. And I just read also in one of the comments, it's easy to cheer on others. I also do that. I love to celebrate also the success of my friends and connections that I have. But it's more like this kind of putting yourself out there, or putting myself out there. I can say it's still quite hard, and sometimes I have this cringe feeling posting a picture of myself, even though these posts perform really well. Yeah, and I'm then ashamed or think like, why not my work? But people want to connect. They want to see you and meet you, and of course they follow you because they love what you do. But there's more to it, and it's also one of the things nowadays. I don't know, speaking of AI and so on, we are humans doing things with their hands, and other people are interested in that, and the whole process, not only the outcome. So yeah, it's maybe always important to have this whole thing in mind. And also my conclusion or difficulty is maybe, what can I commit to? For example, when I have a post and I got lots of comments, and then I'm putting little hearts in all the comments, but I never have time to reply, and there's already a new post and I've never really replied, and it feels disrespectful to the people who have cheered on me or who have, I don't know. And but then there's all they only have 24 hours, and yeah, it's a dilemma. Maybe not a big one, but a small one.
Yeah, but it's something good to keep in mind, right? You don't want to just like post and disappear, right? So if you have to be able to factor in that engagement that you also want to give back, and the relationships that you're going to build, because I don't think it's successful otherwise. And like you said, it feels kind of rude or disrespectful if you're just like, here's my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. And then you're never there for the actual conversation. So I think that's a good thing to keep in mind when you're thinking about whether you want to show up more on social media and how. So if that's okay, if either of you don't have anything else you want to definitely say, last chance. Otherwise, we will wrap up the live stream, because I know we've taken much longer than we said we would. So I want to make sure that you all could get some rest here on a Saturday.
We can reconnect on Instagram.
See you there in a few minutes while we're all scrolling on our sofa.
We are anyway connected, but for everyone else.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I really appreciate hearing your candid experience, and that you entered this experiment with me. I know it was not necessarily easy, so I appreciate you giving it a go and sharing honestly how it went for you. With that, I'm going to say goodbye and see you in 2 weeks.
Bye. Thanks so much.
I really hope that you enjoyed today's episode. And if you did, can I ask you a favor? Please share this link with one of your artist friends who you really think could get a lot out of this conversation as well. And if maybe today's wasn't the one for you, check out the playlist. We've done 13 of these live conversations so far. And the artists that I have had on the show have just been incredible, open, vulnerable, helpful, really willing to help other artists grow their art business. And so I would really appreciate if you can help your artist friends by sharing and help this podcast grow. Because just like with social media, it can be kind of difficult to get that traction. But I think I have a good thing going here. And if you agree, please help get the word out. Thank you, and see you in 2 weeks.